we have me being DJ, and some of the music cannot be on the recording, and we don't have an assisting practitioner, so it's all me, which means I'm going to invite you who are here in person to participate. So is the mic on, Michael?
No. No. It's not like there's that many people. I can't hear you.
Hey, and I know how to project, so it's on this end.
We can hear you fine.
Yeah. Now I don't have to shout. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Frankie Timmers, and I am the spiritual director here at Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown. So I'm really grateful that those of you who are here in person, it's a different vibe, a different energy, and we are here virtually as well, which the beauty of virtual live streaming is that it lives forever. Even after we are gone, it will still be somewhere in the Ethernet. So if you're on Facebook today, make sure you make a comment, ask a question, use the bubbles, say hello, share our page, share our information. And we always invite you to check us out on the internet, of course, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Meetup, and then our website. And on our website is a place where you get to support us financially if that is something that you would love to do, because it's with your support that we can continue to do what we do here today. So the theme for the year is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And for August, we are chilling, just like many people are on the planet as they take their vacations, hopefully. And so in August, we're pausing for guidance. And the topic today is Remember, Life is a Dance. And what I want to talk about is this whole idea that life is a dance, and the more we flow with life, the more easy and effortless it is, and the more joy we experience. And then I want to talk a little bit about what happens when we resist that flow, and how can we then reconnect and go back into the flow of life. And this is going to be participation day. So I'm looking for some brave people in a minute. All right. So I'm really glad that Michael is here and Bien, because they're doing the IT and sound today. Michael is getting married next Sunday. Yes, to his beloved Tammy, and I get to do the ceremony, so we have Bien here doing our sound, and Gail Belliardo will be here with our two practitioner students, Lori Carlson and Gail Jones, and I know they're going to be awesome. And then I'll be back the week after that. So let's begin with an opening treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes. In this very moment, as I take a breath, I have a deeper remembrance of who, whose, and what I am. And so when I say I, mine, me, I am not speaking about Frankie Timmers. I'm speaking about the presence and the power of the divine in each and every one of us. Whether we call that God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Spirit, Mother Nature, infinite intelligence, it doesn't matter, because in the end it has no name. It is all that and then some. So today I connect more deeply with that which is sacred within me, which knows no suffering, no struggle, does not identify with condition or the world of effect. It is purely and wholly identified with the truth of my being, and it is here to be lived by means of my consciousness, by means of my beingness, by means of how I show up in the world. And so today I am grateful and blessed to know that this is a conscious thing, a conscious choice, a conscious way of being, and that I'm ever supported, ever given exactly what I need to be in that holy, sacred place of experiencing life, ever choosing the high road. And that even when I unconsciously choose the low road, I am made aware that the high road is present, available, and possible. So today I choose to dance. I choose to dance in my thinking, in my feeling, in my being, and in my movements, so that I experience the grace of life that is ever available. And for that, I am so grateful, because it truly shifts everything in my life towards the realm of pure joy. And so it is. So, I have a story. I love stories. And I know that most of us love stories. It's that child within that still resonates when we hear a story that inspires us or fills us. This is a very old Hasidic tale about a famous rabbi who was on his way to teach a village that was very interested in his ideas. This was going to be a very big event, and each Jew in the community made great preparations, pondering what question he or she might ask this wise man. The rabbi finally arrived, and after the initial welcome, he was taken into a large room where people gathered to ask their questions. There was tremendous anticipation and excitement all around. The rabbi walked silently around the room and began to hum a Hasidic tune. Before long, everyone started humming along with his soft voice. As people became comfortable with his song, the rabbi started to dance. He danced everywhere in the room, and one by one, every person danced with him. You know what that's like, right? When somebody starts to hum, people hum. When somebody starts to dance, everybody else gets up. Soon, everybody in the whole community was wildly dancing together. Each person's soul was healed by this dance. And everyone experienced a personal transformation. Later in the night, the rabbi gradually slowed the dance and eventually brought it to a stop. He looked into everyone's eyes and said gently, "I trust that I have answered all your questions." I love that because I know from myself that there was a time when I would go to conferences or retreats and I had a million questions. And every chance I would get, I would ask the question. And then something happened. For about 15 years, I would go on retreats with my meditation teacher. And there came a moment where I realized I never had to ask another question. Because when I was really present and I really listened, at the end, every question I had would be answered anyway. Whether it was by the silence, the meditation, or somebody else asking my question. And so there is something that we know that every question we have, the answer already lies within us. It's not out here somewhere. It lies within us, and when we listen, when the time is right, the questions will be answered. And so I want to lighten it up a little bit because I think there is a fun way to sing and dance that can bring lightness to us. And when lightness is brought to us, there is a transformation, right? So I need a couple of people who know the song, The Hokey Pokey. And I want you to come up here.
I don't know. You know it.
Thank you, Beth.
I know.
I'll do it it with you. Who else? You're going to let Beth stand here by herself. Coraline. Oh, how brave. Yes, Erica. Okay, we got 3 people doing the hokey pokey. All right, so I was going to play it, but just in case it gets cut off this recording, we won't do it, right? And so let's do it. So how does it start?
Isn't it put your right hand in?
Yeah.
Put your
Okay, so we'll just make it up.
Put your right hand in. Put your right
hand out. You put your right hand in and shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
Put your left
Hand in, you put your left hand out. You put your left hand in and shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. And that's what it's all about. Put your right foot in and put your right foot out. You put your right foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Let's do the last verse, because the last verse is you put your whole self in, you put your whole self out, you put your whole self in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. And that's what it's all about. Yay! Let's give a big hand to Beth. Thank you, Carla, Erica, Beth. That was fun. So when there is movement and there is dance, there are many elements that are happening, right? The body is involved. There is movement, there is action, there is space, there's time, there's energy, and I'm so proud that the 3 of you stood up because I know what it's like to sit there and go, I'm gonna, there's no freaking way I'm gonna make a fool of myself. There is no better way to evolve spiritually than make a fool of yourself. Because then you're done worrying about what other people think, right? When we admit that we are silly, or even when we make mistakes, there is this beautiful freedom that says, yeah, I'm kind of silly. Yeah, I made a mistake or 2. So hence, time to take this thing off. It's warm. I'm not a polyester lover, so the whole idea is that when we get silly and when we do fun things and when we jump in, like when we were kids and we didn't worry what anybody thought, that there is not only a freedom, but there is a remembrance that all life is sacred. All of it. And so there's this beautiful saying that I have loved forever, and it came across my radar again recently, because it hasn't, but I've always known of it. I've always loved it. Do you remember Angeles Arian, who was this great author, and she wrote many books, but in the foreword to Gabrielle Roth's book, Maps to Ecstasy, and Gabrielle Roth was somebody who would do these workshops where you do the 5 different movements, and I remember loving some of the workshops that I did with her. I didn't even know that was still hanging out with me here. And so this is what she said. In many shamanic societies, if you came to a medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, or depressed, they would ask one of 4 questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? And when did you stop being comfortable by the sweet territory of silence? So think for a moment for yourself. Did I stop dancing? And when was that? When I'm in a weird mood, there's nothing better than turning on my favorite playlist and dance around the house or outside. Sometimes it's just to move the body, because when thought is rigid, the body becomes rigid, and when the body is rigid and thought is rigid, we become sick, right? Or something happens in our world that shows us that we've forgotten how to dance. ballroom dancer in our midst? Bill, ballroom dancer in our midst. Anybody else here does ballroom dancing? Otherwise, I was going to have you come up and dance for us. So it's a good question, right? When did I stop dancing? When did I stop dancing? And it doesn't even, to me, just mean to not be dancing. But when did your body stop dancing? When did you stop making silly moves? Remember Monty Python and the silly moves? We used to do that all the time as kids. I still do it sometimes with Norman. So the idea is, when did my body stop dancing? When did I stop feeling free in my own body? When did I stop loving my body as the instrument that Spirit uses to move through this world? And when did I stop singing? How many of you sing in the shower? Yeah, how many of you sing and hum along to other music? I know for me, as soon as music is playing, I can't help but move and sing along. And Norman will say to me, that money your parents spent on singing lessons was a waste. It makes me laugh every time. When did we stop being enchanted by stories? I collect books that have interesting stories. That's why I'm able to bring some of them to classes and on Sundays, because there's something about stories that remind us that life is much bigger than our own little world. So look for stories that enchant you when you've forgotten who you are. And then, when did you stop being comforted by the sweet territory of silence? So many people are so distracted that there's now something called digital dementia, which I heard from Bob Simon, because we're so attached to our smartphones and our laptops and our pads and our tablets that we don't make room anymore just to be and just to be still. And so there's a gift in just allowing ourselves to be still, to be comfortable in the silence, and to listen to the voice of truth that is already within us. And so there is the invitation to remember that there is enchantment available to us when we forget the truth of our being, that life is sacred. And so we're all part of this flow of life, right? We're all in the flow of life already. So if we're not experiencing the flow of life, it's not because the flow has changed, it's because something in our thinking has changed. And if we're not aware of what that is, which I know for myself, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what that is. I can listen long enough and say, what could it be? What's the invitation? Is this possibly my growing edge right now? And so when we're outside the flow, we forget to dance, we forget to be silent, we forget to listen to the magical stories that are everywhere, and we forget to sing. Julia Cameron says this: life is a spiritual dance. Isn't that true? Life is a spiritual dance, right? And our unseen partner has steps to teach us if we will allow ourselves to be led. The next time you're restless, remind yourself it's the universe asking, shall we dance? Isn't that beautiful? Life is a spiritual dance, and our unseen partner has steps to teach us if we will allow ourselves to be led. The next time you are restless, remind yourself it's the universe asking, shall we dance? So what we learn in our teaching is that our freedom is inherent. Freedom is already within us. It's ever available with every every breath and every heartbeat, but it must be chosen. And wherever we feel a sense of boundless or shackles or struggle, especially when it comes to knowing that we are always being led by the truth that is already within us. Isn't that a great thing? Yeah. All right, so anybody else is a ballroom dancer that decided to admit it? No, so I was going to have Bill dance a little bit. So I want you to know that there is a brand new flyer on the back table, because in exactly a month we have another special guest, only virtually. We will not be meeting in person on September 12th. We have Reverend Patrick Harbula, who's been here before, but he's going to show up virtually to do the Sunday celebration, and then he's going to do a workshop after that. Patrick is a very popular workshop leader, and many love him. The workshop is called The Joy Factor, A Life of Infinite Freedom, and it's from 12 to 2 by Zoom. You do have to register, and it's all on the flyer or on the website. And I'm really grateful because Michael said he would take care of all the recording stuff, which is fabulous because I'm on vacation. Yay! All right. And if any of you have a desire to give back, we are still looking for some volunteers to help with our website and to help with IT stuff and to open up our social hour if you so desire, because if you want social hour back, you get to make it happen. So let's close with a spiritual mind treatment, and then I have some music, and we're all going to dance, right?
Yes.
Even if it's ass dancing. It goes like this. That's what Norman calls it, ass dancing. Is that allowed to be said amongst all the words that are not appropriate to be said? Ass dancing is perfect. All right, so let's close with a healing treatment. Right here, right now, we remember that we live in a spiritual universe where everything is always given. Given. That means that we're always on the receiving end of grace, of love, of wisdom, of the healing power of spirit itself, of joy. And so today we're learning to simply say yes, to be silent long enough to receive the inflow of that divine grace, and to allow it to do whatever it knows to do by means of its creation. We see this when we look at nature. We might notice it's getting a little cooler and some of the leaves are already changing. It's this utter predictability that fall is on the way, and not winter, not summer, not spring. It's that deeper knowing when we stand by the ocean that the tides are connected to the moon, and there is this perfect predictability of the tide, the low tide and the high tide. It's that same flow that exists within us because this infinite intelligence is everywhere and everyone all the time. So the more aware we are, the more we get to use it, and the more we get to use it, the more it shows up in our lives. So today we are blessed for how far we've come. The fact that we are sitting here, that we're alive, that we're listening to this broadcast means that we've come so far. We've overcome so many challenges. That's a blessing. That's spirit within us, doing the work with our acceptance, our alignment. And so we can trust now what unfolds next, because there is only the uncertainty of life itself. But the invitation is that the more we flow with it with ease and grace, the more it flows with us. And so we welcome this new awareness of the freedom to live and dance and sing and be enchanted by stories and experience the sweet territory of silence in a fresh and new way. And so we let divine love lead the way and dissolve whatever seems to be in the way. And so it is.